friends, it's your boy, the OGGM, broadcasting live from Site B in the beautiful fictional town of Fresno, Nevada, which looks suspiciously like a park in Southern California. Weird. It's time for another walk and talk where I go out and try and get in better shape, be a little bit more positive, and drag you kicking and screaming with me as we mumble our way through various tabletop role-playing game topics or news items. It's been a big week for Wizards of the Coast, and of all things, BroSR slash RAW slash 1.1 time, and Jethro, of all people. Weirdness abounds, or we've just once again ran out of topics to talk about. Look at that teeny dog. So, yep, at least the weather's nice at the moment. I can't complain too much. So, as we know, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro dropped the Q4 numbers at the beginning of the week. And strangely enough, most of the attention was on Wizards of the Coast. Very little attention on whatever Hasbro might have been doing. I mean, we know Hasbro still makes stuff. We know Peppa is huge, thank God. And Beyblade of all things, but they do like to, what the fuck was that? Sorry. They do like to drag out the Wizards of the Coast as their shining star, and why shouldn't they? It's the name brand they're most familiar with, and it's the one that gets them the most attention, both positive and negative. So while we're all looking at whatever Wizards of the Coast is doing, Hasbro can just, keep stumbling along various lawsuits and all the whatever they're doing, and we will continue to sit by and wait patiently to see how they pull themselves out of this one. So in the process of reveling in Wizards of the Coast victories this year, they, of course, went out of the way to remind us of the Wizards of the Coast plan to continue to digitize their brand and focus more and more on tchotchkes, trinkets, action figures, toys, board games, and focus less and less on the actual pen and paper D&D thing. And, of course, the usual crowd made their multiple videos about, oh gosh, how dare Wizards of the Coast inform us that they're going to continue to focus on computer stuff. Oh no, how dare Wizards of the Coast inform us that they're going to focus on branding and making tchotchkes and toys and board games as opposed to actually supporting the role-playing game. Gosh. Wizards of the Coast blatantly says, hey, you know what we've been doing for the past 10 years? We're going to keep doing that. I, for one, am completely surprised. I think I'll have a heart attack and die from not being surprised that Wizards is going to continue to do what they've said they're going to do and have been doing, face it, since 3.5. Now, I understand that it's easy to talk about these things because they're news gathering. It's very easy for the doom and gloom crowd to focus on that again over and over and over again because it gets attention. Just talk about, hi buddy, start painting that like dog. Hi buddy, start panting like dog. And then he restricted. Okay, panting like dog, I think is what he meant. I'm out of shape. That's why I'm doing this. So yes, I'm panting like a dog. Okay. So it's very hard to say nice things about Wizards. It's very easy to go, how dare you say what you're going to do when we know you've been doing that. So I understand. But, I'd rather not talk about it than focus on the negative, because it's not negative. It's literally Wizards doing what they said they were going to do and have been doing since 3.5. Dungeons and Dragons is a cash cow for them. As long as they can make money off of that, they're going to continue to follow the plan, and they're making money, so the plan's working. We don't have to like it, but the branding, merchandising, whatever you might call it, is working. Yay for them, I guess. Meanwhile, we've got dozens of other little game companies out there who are scrambling for whichever's left. And then the talk we had about why I haven't designed a system, I just am tossing it out there yet again that I hope someday soon we see the next deal breaker. We see the next glass ceiling breaker. We see the next system that's going to shake the world. I mean, I guess technically Shadow Dark was the previous one. And I guess Mirk Borg, because so many people have made games using those two systems. But, you know, can also say that Shadow Dark is still a D20 level based fantasy system, which isn't really new or different, you know. So, whatever. And then, of course, because we talk about, ooh, look at all the butterflies. Can you see them? I don't know if the camera's doing the butterflies justice, but there's a ton of them flying around these milkweeds, I think. Pretty sure these are milkweeds, or some version of milkweeds. They're what's known as butterfly plants, so they attract the monarchs. There's one. And they're all over the place because the monarch tunnel, as it's called, that the monarchs follow from up north to South America and then back as part of their migration, goes right through Ventura. So during butterfly season, we range from, you know, seeing 1 or 2 a day to a couple hundred a day, to, if you go up further north near Santa Barbara, you can see thousands of them just flying down the monarch tunnel. So yeah, it's always cool. You don't care, you want to talk about D&D, but there you go. So there's a little pointless trivia for you about monarchs. So obviously, talking about Wizards of the Coast today, we have to, of course, talk about Wizards of the Coast / TSR / 1.1 time, the BroSR, Jethro, and rules as written. You know, claims as to who created 1.1 time, who created the Bronstein, who created the BroSR, where did that all come from? And we all know it was Harmony Ginger, right? Harmony Ginger invented 1.1 time, and the Bronstein, and the BroSR, and the OSR, and Raw. It's all her. It's all her fault. Because she is a time-traveling AIE girl, so we know she traveled back in time and created the whole thing. Now, 1.1 time dates back to very beginnings of the hobby. Like it or not, it is there in the hobby. Gygax talks about it at the very beginning. The Bronstein style also dates back to the very beginnings of the hobby. Some say it predates the hobby, depending upon what version of the timeline. Oh, there he is. There's our friend you choose to follow. So these were not new ideas. All Jethro and the BroSR did, for good or bad, or for everything that came after, is bring attention to it. Jethro never claims he invented 1.1 time. He just wanted to acknowledge that it existed and bring it to people's attention and revel in the glory of Gygax's original rules. And anybody who actually knows anything about the history of AD&D and TSR and the hobby should know that the BroSR never claimed that they invented rules as written or 1.1 time or Bronstein. All they did was bring attention to the style and cause a lot of hoopla and ruckus and kayfabe, and in doing so brought more attention to the style, and people paid attention to what the BroSR was saying about Gygax and history and the original intent and 1.1 time and don't ask me to explain the Bronstein method. Check out Harmony Ginger. She does a much better job. at doing it than I do, and she deserves all the props she can get. Oh, you're white knighting for Harmony Ginger. You must have the hots for her. No. I think she's a cool human being, and that's it. So yeah, that's all they did. They never claimed they invented anything. And anybody who's following after them talking about these methods of play are not claiming they invented it. They are giving credit where the credit is due to the individuals who first came up with it. Gygax and those guys, and the original founding fathers of the hobby, and the original founding fathers of D&D and AD&D and AD&D 2.0 and whatever other version of this mess that is role-playing that you prefer. Oh, look at that. That's cute. Oh, hi, doggy. I like your little river. It's going to rain a lot. That'd be interesting. So, yeah. Obviously, because we're talking about D&D and Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards of the Coast has ruined D&D, we got to talk about old D&D. And I really like what Professor DM called it. You know, his little video he made. Okay. So we got D&D, and we got folk D&D, or grassroots D&D. So I guess folk D&D is a new way of referring to the OSR OGL, or we've got Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, D20 level based roleplay, inspired by the original creation. Have we ever been on this street before? We're going out now. Inspired by the original creations of Gygax. And then we have everything else. Everything else that in some way, shape, or form references that. Oh, you have been down this list before. References that style, that level 20, D20, level based, more or less fantasy style of play. There are a lot of games that fall under that. Some are more pure Gygaxian fantasy. Some choose to go darker than Gygaxian fantasy, you know, go all mudcore or whatever you want to call it. Some are hybrids, like Daggerheart, Shadowdark, DCC, that combine both old style play and new style play. Some have attempted to create new experimental mechanics and new takes on that style. Why is your camera so pixelated? Because it's a phone? Am I moving? Like DM Blackwell's system. You know, he hybridized and used a different dice at D12 instead of any other dice, but it still has its roots in that Gygaxian fantasy. So Professor DM coined the phrase folk D&D. We have true D&D, which is whatever Wizards of the Coast vomits out, and then we have everything else. And it all falls under the former OSR OGL title, and now I guess falls under the folk. Ooh, free tire. Who wants a free tire? No one? Free tire? No? Okay. Because I have an Android. Yes, I have an Android. I like Android better. I'm sorry. Call me an alien or whatever. Now, I've pontificated on rules as written versus rules as intended versus rules as perceived. Because I believe they're three different things. Rules as written, rules as perceived, and rules as intended, right? And whenever we talk about Wizards of the Coast and the fate of today's Dungeons and Dragons, we of course inevitably start talking about old D&D and rules as written and what Gygax intended and who is the worthy successor and what's the next game. It's funny how always when we have this conversation, we tend to forget about Castles and Crusades, which is legitimately what Gygax intended to have happen next, because he worked with them, as well as Legendary Journeys, his other game, right? I have an Android, or I am an android. You must be on the West Coast. No, I'm live in Arizona, in Nevada, in a town called Fresno, Nevada. Haven't you been paying attention for the past 10 years? Nobody who lives in California can walk to work. So therefore, I don't live in California, right? I don't live on the West Coast because I can't walk. Now, I used to live on a small island off the coast of Costa Rica. That was Site A. But I have since moved to Fresno, Nevada, which is Site B, which doesn't exist. I made it up. It's a town that I made up. But it sounds cool, and it has its own theme song. So we know there's going to be videos being made, if they haven't been already made, claiming, oh, this is what AD&D is. This is who invented RAW. This is who invented 1.1 time. How can I monopolize the latest round of Wizards of the Coast hate to my best interest? And if I have to lie, oh well, I don't care, because maybe it'll get me some more attention. It's not new. Oh look, I found an ant. Clever disguise, Mr. Ant. Do you have one of those licenses that expires when you're 65? I do not have a driver's license. Well, I have one, but it's expired. Very, very expired. At least it didn't get taken away from me. It almost did. Yeah, I don't drive due to the multiple levels of my disability and the way my disability presents. Having me on the road is a danger to others. I drive great. Personally, I believe I drive great. Every time I get behind the wheel, I get where we need to go, and I have a good time doing it. Just there's these things like rules of the road and passing and lanes and left and right and speed limit and stuff like that. And that's where I and the law don't see eye to eye. And the law says, well, I can't give this guy a license. He's a danger. Because apparently left and right is a thing. So yeah, there we go. So no, I don't drive. I apologize. I wish I did to make life a lot easier. But then I couldn't get out on my walk with you guys and talk about whatever we're talking about. What are we talking about? See, now I forgot. Oh yeah, 1.1 time. Who invented it? Bronstein's. Who invented that? Rules is written. Where the fuck does that even come from? What does this have to do with Wizards of the Coast plan to continue to do exactly what they're saying they're going to do with D&D? Oh no, Wizards of the Coast is killing D&D. Yes, they are. When have they ever lied about that? They've been killing D&D since 3.5. D&D does not make Wizards of the Coast money. It has not made them money for a long time. Supplements, merchandising, things like dice and folding maps. That's where the money is. Supplements make more money than the core. So same thing with video games. Video game systems don't make any money. It's all the peripherals. Oh, another monarch. For those of you keeping track of the monarchs here, as we go through the monarch tunnel. Where I used to live, the house before this house, it was like right smack dab in the monarch tunnel. And somewhere, if you go through the past of my videos on the other channel, you can see a video of me just standing and just being swarmed by hundreds of monarchs as they pass through, heading south towards South America. Yeah, so it's cool if that's a thing you're into. If you don't care, oh well. We're just, is that Woody Allen? No, that's a fish. But I mean, Woody Allen lives in, is he still alive? I believe he lives in West Hollywood, or Beverly Hills. I don't think he lives here, but you never know. I gotta look up if he's still alive. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, yep. I guess I've said whatever I'm gonna say. If you want to know more about 1.1 time or the Bronstein method, I highly recommend checking out videos that have been done by people who actually have done the work and give Gygax the credit for it. Nobody else has claimed that they've invented 1.1 time or they invented the Bronstein method. Every person who talks about it says this was Gygax's idea. All I've done is bring it forward. This is all the way back in the OG, the dinosaur days, 1.1 time and the Bronstein method and all this stuff. You can check out Harmony Ginger. She talks about 1.1 time using a real calendar, Bronstein method all the time on her videos. Of course, you can check out the Bro SR as long as you can swathe your way through their pro wrestling kayfabe nonsense and realize, most of it isn't act. I don't get why people are always so angry at the Bro SR. It's obvious what it is. They're a kayfabe professional wrestling heel stable talking about D&D. They're the NWO. They're playing these characters. And in playing these characters, they endeavor to get an idea and across. And they get that idea across with sort of this running joke of them being over-the-top heels. I do that from day one. But some other people, not so much. Whatever. I mean, it's a game, right? Are we really going to get a screw loose talking over a silly game? Of course we are. What am I saying? Half the videos I talk about wouldn't exist if there wasn't a reason to get a screw loose over a silly role-playing game. Because that's what we do. We're so invested. We're so emotional. We're so passionate about this hobby that it's so easy to find things wrong. And it's very hard to find things that are good. Trust me, I know. It is a never-ending hurdle for me to outthink myself, to not be me, to not focus on the negative, to not focus on the angry, to not point fingers and call people out and say, so-and-so's a fucking mark, like I've done in the past, But being that person that I was has cost me so many friendships, so many relationships, so much reputation that I end up having, 2,300 subs and not being as successful as I could have been. And I know it'd be very easy for me to fall into the same little niche of the other doom and gloom, focus on the negative, call people out, smatter politics in my D&D talk. But I'd be really bad at it, and it wouldn't do me or you any good. So I'm trying. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, but I'm trying. And in the quest for positivity, I will take you with me with my pixelated camera, because I don't have a driver's license, here where I don't live, in this beautiful park in Ventura, California, that also plays Fresno, Nevada in the movies and TV shows and my videos. So yeah, shout out to the past. Embrace the past of D&D. Make the present of D&D more pleasant, more positive. Build the next step in the evolution of D&D. Keep an eye out for what's going to be the next barometer changer. What's going to be the next glass ceiling breaker? What's the next game that's going to shatter the paradigm? 99%, out of 100, Shadow Dark got really close. I mean, Shadow Dark was there. Shadow Dark and Mirkborg and everything that came after Shadow Dark definitely peaked its head above, the waterline. And I think if Kelsey ever does a Shadow Dark 2.0, she could shatter the paradigm. What's the next GURPS? What's the next Cyberpunk? What's the next Bronstein? What's the next Vampire the Masquerade? What's the next game that's going to get people to go, wow, this is where I want to be? I don't know. I'd like to say it's mine, but, you know, who am I kidding? My game is a niche within a niche within a niche. I'll be happy if I sell 50. Oh, wait, I have sold. Wait, I'm a bronze seller now, aren't I? Oh, well, I'm talking about the next game, which is done. I'm just waiting on art and formatting. So expect the game to be rolled out sometime in March. All right, so take care. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Today is Friday the 13th. So be careful out there. Spooky Friday the 13th. And have a good time tomorrow. Be safe if Valentine's Day is your thing. Of course, if you're lovelorn, single like me, you'll probably be doing the same thing I am tomorrow, and that's sleeping. Till next time, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming along with me on these walks. I appreciate your company.